Is Son now the replacement for Kane? Because like everyone was clamoring for a big money striker to come in the summer. Obviously, it didn't happen. We ended up going for Brennan Johnson on the right. We do have Richarlison there that cost 60 million last season, but now Sonny seems to have taken up that mantle as the number 9. So, John, do you think Sonny is the Kane replacement now?
Well, he's going to have to be, because there's no other real options, is there? Genuine options. What I would say about Son is that because he's captain, I've seen that his game has adapted a little bit. I also think, when he's getting up positions on the edge of the area, in the past, he would get the ball out of his feet and curl one into the far post. That would be his trademark. So he'd make a lateral movement across the box and he'd try and get a shot off quickly. Now his first instinct is to bring in other players when he's around that area. And that for me is that Sonny position. Think about, that's a trademark Sonny goal, isn't it? Gets from either side, he can whip it, get it off on either foot, right? Yeah. But now when he's in that position, I can see he's now looking up and looking for the runners, or he's looking for people coming into the box. So I feel like that's probably come about because of his new role, the captain, and he feels like he wants to be the one, like the fulcrum of all of it, the one that kind of brings it all together and becomes that leader in that way. And I think he is a brilliant captain.
Like Harry Kane was.
Well, yeah, in a slightly different way, but I know what you're saying, yeah. But I would say, though, the difference is when Kane didn't play well, the whole team didn't play well. And I think it's going to be slightly different with Son in there.
Well, what I'm saying is Kane used to just drop deep and just try bring everyone into play.
Yeah. And that's when we played well, was when Kane was doing that. And he was like I used to call him the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so my thing about Son is that I think he can play that role, but his natural instinct is going to want to drop back and help with the build-up play, because he's now taken on that role as the captain, as the leader, as the one that's gelling it all together. But in terms of actual finishing, if he can get his sharpness back, I mean, to be honest with you, I know he scored 3 on the weekend, but before that, he isn't quite as sharp as he was a couple of years ago. He's not quite as ruthless, but he's
not suited to playing out on that left though in this system.
What I'm talking about is just the kind of the candy in his heels, the quickness of feet. That's what I'm looking at, the eye test, and how he's able to quickly get the ball out, get a shot off. That little bit of magic's gone, but he's adapting his game and he's becoming a lot more of a fulcrum, like a kind of more of an influential player in that sense.
I think Sim's
I'm just saying, I've heard this. I was wondering where I heard this before. I was saying, I remember when we were doing some Hotspurs back in the day, like Kane had just got 4 assists and a goal against Hampton. You were like, yeah, but he's not quite the Kane he was a few years ago. Is he world class?
He's a different Kane, wasn't it?
Is he world class? I'm like, come on, the guy's.
We're not talking about Kane.
I know. I'm saying I've heard this all before from you.
Just trying to recreate the Hotspurs.
I just remember this. I remember this, Sean. I've got a long memory. I just remember all these conversations we had. For me, like in terms of like, can Son be our Kane replacement? Look, no one can replace Kane, but can he do something? Can he supply us with that? Basically, can he be that striker who's like our goal getter? Basically, not maybe get as many as Kane got, but can he be like our main source of goals? Can he be
get
that
20 goals?
Yeah, and I think he can. I think he can be our main striker. If I told you we were going to sign a striker this window and he's going to score 20 Premier League goals, you'd be like, okay, that's pretty good. So if we just say that player is not, we haven't signed him, it's just Son. Like, I think I would accept that. I think that's like a good. I think that would be a good replacement for what Kane offered. And I agree with John. I think he is starting to add a bit more to his game when it comes to build up and bring other players into play. I'm happy that for me, I didn't want to see him out wide anymore. I think maybe in certain games he can fill in there and he can still do a job out wide if need be. But I think his best position just isn't out wide anymore. I think if you're asking me what his best qualities are, it's his ability to finish. His finishing ability is elite. Pure elite finishing. It's one of the best, if not the best, in Europe when it comes to like outdoing his expected goals and things like that, and how he can find the corners from all sorts of angles. It's astonishing, his finishing ability. And the only way to get the best out of his finishing ability in this day and age for him is to get him central. So when he's picking up the ball, he's picking up the ball in areas where he can get shots off and score goals. In the first 3 games of the season, he was picking up the ball in areas just really far out wide, hugging the touchline almost. And he had always maybe a defender to beat as well a lot of the time. And when he does beat that defender, a lot of the time he's going down the line to the byline and he's asked to create rather than score. That looked like his main kind of job over the first few games. It's going to be is more of a creative job than a goal scoring job, and his best attribute is goal scoring. That is his number one attribute. So you've got to make the most out of that. And I think if we can, I think he can be just as clinical as Kane in front of goal. I really believe that. I think when it comes to finishing, I think Son can be just as clinical, but Kane is always going to get himself more opportunities because of his physicality. He's more likely to win headers in the box if crosses come in, and if he's taking the ball on the edge of the box, he's more likely to shrug off a defender and turn and shoot and get a goal. Son, it's going to be harder for him to do that because of his physicality. But when it comes to when the chances fall his way and just pure clinical, I think Son can be just as clinical as Kane. So if we can get him in those,
Son suits this system more as a number 9 than Kane does to get the best out of the two players.
I wouldn't say that. I think Kane can fit in any system. I think he can be.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Kane can't fit in any system. I agree. Of course he can. And if Kane was in this team, he'd be scoring bucket loads of goals. But what I'm saying is I actually think Son, with his speed as well, actually suits this system a lot more than Harry Kane does as a number 9.
I think we're more fluid. Personally, look, again, I stated this from the off since our own system. Son can't play out left. Kulu can't play out on the right. It will all have to change. And nothing has made me change my mind at all. One swallow doesn't make a summer. He scored 3 goals. Poor touch second half. He should have had the 4th, as Ange said. But
from a Kulu through ball, might I add.
Yeah. But, it still should have buried it. But my point here is that, we saw against Leicester when he came back and we thought Sonny's reborn, scored the hat-trick, and then went AWOL again. I think this system is so much more than what we're looking at. We're looking at the Kane, everything Kane. And we're still talking about Kane, right? Kane has left the building, right? This is no longer Harry Kane FC. Sky News, BBC, they're all still talking about Harry Kane every week. Are they scoring more goals without Harry Kane? Are they a better team without Harry Kane? Right? We are a more fluid team, okay? And I think Son is just one component of an interchanging attacking system where you've got Solomon, Johnson, Kulu, Maddison, right? It's coming from all angles. And I expect to see a lot of interchangeability. I don't think it matters if Son doesn't score next week, but matters. It's about winning the games. It's about winning football.